Sack him or I leave, Jadon Sancho tells Manchester United after winning his runners-up medal in the UEFA Champions League. He probably feels he's bigger than everyone at Manchester United. Maybe I'll put it to you. An FA Cup winners medal and a Champions League runners-up medal, which is bigger? My name is Webb. This is the United Hot Spot. Subscribe, like, and share this video as we get proper into this morning, afternoon, or evening update depending on where you are, which part of the world you're in. Now, let's get into it. Well, this is the week we'll definitely get to hear whether Erik Ten Hag stays at Manchester United or not. Now, the review also involves Jadon Sancho. The review that Ineos has been conducting will probably involve the decision to make on whether Jadon Sancho stays or not. Now, it is said, this is ESPN reporting this, they are saying that Jadon Sancho has come out, and this is the chairman of the Writers Association. This is him saying this. He came out and said that Jadon Sancho has told Manchester United that if he's going to return, Erik Ten Hag has got to leave. He's not open to playing under Erik Ten Hag, even if he would like to come back to Manchester United and fight for his future. He doesn't think he's completely done at Manchester United, but he's done under Erik Ten Hag. Now, you think about that and you're saying, now, if this is true, honestly, first of all, how important does Jadon Sancho think he is as a player to Manchester United that they can base on him to make a decision about the manager? I think, again, that shows you a lot more of, first of all, the magnitude of the issues they had between them, probably to the young lad. It's irreparable. They can't repair the damage that was caused, but also it shows you a little bit about his personality and career, because they say time will always heal wounds. I mean, if after all these months this boy cannot move on after reaching the Champions League final, almost winning it, if he cannot move on from Erik Ten Hag and say, you know what, let me just focus on my career, with everything that has been said, he's sticking to his guns and saying, I'm not apologizing to this guy. Well, probably it's not it wouldn't be a good idea for him to return. I've been saying it here several times before that for me, if Man United is to choose between bringing back Sancho and Mason Greenwood, they should bring back Greenwood, because Sancho clearly seems to be a bigger problem to the bigger project at Man United than Mason Greenwood would be. Because if he's coming out to say things like this, giving conditions, I think it shows you how can a 24-year-old kid who has failed, who has not won anything major in his career, has got potential, like we all know, he's coming out and giving a club like Man United that I can't, conditions that for me to return, you should sack the manager. I mean, think about it. Think about it. I think if you're a parent, you should be if you're an African parent and that's your child, you should be disappointed in yourself as a parent. You should be saying, I think I raised an indisciplined kid. Don't you think? Well, that's what is coming through from Manchester United. Now, you can tell me your opinion about that, but in all honesty, for me, I think the best thing for Man United to do in this rebuilding phase is to part ways with Jadon Sancho. The issue, though, is that the price, the 50 million pounds quid that Man United wants for him, is not money a team like Borussia Dortmund, who clearly, even from their manager's own admission, would have wanted to keep him. They can't afford. Whereas they want him, they're saying we can't afford to pay 50 million pounds. Whereas we've got a lot of money from the same Manchester United, a lot more than that. We cannot be paying again 50 million to get him back. He's probably not worth it. And the reality is, guys, I feel like Sancho's time at Borussia Dortmund, this loan spell, has been a little over exaggerated. I mean, people make it look like he's done exceedingly well. Yes, he has had a few good games, but remember at the start of his return to Borussia Dortmund, he was getting some flack for some below par performances. He was looking average at times, and yes, he had a few. I think he had 5 goal contributions. There are certain good games he had, like in the Champions League against Bayern, where he was dribbling and beating off people. Yes, he had a few good games and moments, but he was not amazingly, exceedingly good in his performances. So I think for people to make it look like Sancho was failed by Man United, like Jose Mourinho said, that whereas he had these issues, the manager did not give him the best condition to shine. I also don't think he has shined so well with Borussia Dortmund. It's not like he has done exceedingly well, and we should be saying, "Oh, which kind of player are we losing?" So I think it's over. It's not like Mason Greenwood, who has performed exceedingly well at Getafe, in that he was voted their best player of the season, despite him being on loan. but most importantly, despite him not playing football for more than 12 months. So for me, I think Sancho is really overrates himself. Honestly, he's overrating his importance. But also, we know how the British media can overrate and try to push an agenda. I feel like there is a low key intended agenda they are pushing to try and depict Sancho as a player who should be in the Euros because it's the Champions League final and what have you. I think for me, without a shadow of a doubt, Sancho is killing his career day by day. The things that are coming out about him are giving a bad expose about his personality, his mentality, his ways, and those are not ways we would need back at Manchester United, especially for a kid who is not world class. Yes, he has failed to be consistent. World class players are consistent. He's not, especially if he's earning a lot of money, about 350,000 quid. It's not worth it for him to return, especially given the conditions. And by the way, whether Erik Ten Hag stays or not, I for me think Sancho is not a character we need in the Manchester United dressing room. I will say it here and clearly. I think all the things coming out about him point to a character that is not good for the dressing room. He cannot be a good character for the dressing room. It explains why Pep Guardiola let go of him. It explains why Ten Hag is letting go of him. It explains why Gareth Southgate, I think, also doesn't think he's some. I mean, they all know the talent. I mean, a few years ago when he was younger, he was a better talent than all these Phil Fodens and Bukayo Sakas and the likes. But his mentality is probably why he has failed to settle and perform at a club despite having a lot of potential in his feet. So that for me is the problem. The feet are okay, the head is not right. And then what then do you decide? Football is, I think, more mental than physical. Football is extremely mental. That's why there are debates about Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi. Ronaldo has got a big mentality that has elevated him to almost the level of Messi, despite him probably not having the skill in his feet that Lionel Messi has. So the mental part of the game is underrated, but it's probably everything. I think even life itself, if you think about it, I think so many people have talent and skills in different things, but it's the mentality that makes you stand out from the rest. That's what I think. It's what I've learned the years I've been working. It's what I've learned the few years I've lived, that your mentality is everything. If you, however talented you are, however good you are at something, for as long as your mentality is wrong, you cannot excel. That's the honest truth. I think it's the unwritten rule of life and success. It's the unwritten rule of success. So for me, with Sancho, these reports coming out are not good for him at all. Now, there is also, of course, a report that has come through about Casemiro, and it's clear, and I think we've been saying this time and again, that Casemiro is headed out. He even missed the FA Cup winners' party with Man United. He just chose to go on holiday with his family. His probably was bitter. I feel like he fell out on the FA Cup final day with Erik Ten Hag. Probably was told he was not going to start, and something happened. Then they removed him from the squad, saying he got a late injury. I don't think so. I think later on we'll learn. It could be another fallout, because I saw even when they were receiving medals, when Erik Ten Hag was hugging players, I looked at the body language between Erik Ten Hag and Casemiro, and it's not what I expected. So for Casemiro, Saudi is calling. It is most likely going to be his next destination. It is said, like again, I think I reported this months ago, that Cristiano Ronaldo has been insistent on having him join him at Al Nassr. So it's a possible move bound to happen for Casemiro. Well, let him go and make his money. To be honest, I think that's what he needs. Now, guys, the countdown is on. This is the week where Ineos have got to make the decision. If I'm to, I think guess, I don't think it will go beyond this week. I think for me, it's just a wild guess. Of course, I'm guessing based on what I've heard from my sources everywhere, but also reading the situation. Also, the wise thing to do. I think it would be extremely detrimental for Ineos to go beyond this week without pronouncing themselves about Erik Ten Hag. I think it would be themselves shooting themselves in the foot. It wouldn't make sense, because the moment the transfer window is officially open, Man United should know where should be clear on the manager situation, because internally there is beginning to become to be some bit of instability. I mean, players are unsettled. The captain himself is unsettled. So who will be settled if the captain is not? Who is believed to be the right hand man of the manager? Then you want to sign players. The first thing they want to know who am I going to be playing under? Who is going to be my manager? Players who are world class want managers who are going to improve them. So they need to know. There's got to be a certain clarity before you get into a transfer window. So as other clubs are making, moves, they are edging closer to sealing deals from Chelsea to Arsenal, Liverpool, name them. Man United is still stuck on a decision. If it goes beyond this week, Ineos will be, I think, I will have to contend with a lot of flack coming their way from all corners of the world, because indeed, in every corner of the world, there are thousands or even millions of Man United supporters, and they are all waiting for one thing. If Ineos open their mouth now to make any statement, it better be about whether or not they are keeping Erik Ten Hag. If that's not the case, trust you me, things will go south for them, and it won't be the start they were hoping for. Well, let's wait and see what will happen. My name is Webb. This is the United Hotspot. Subscribe and let me know in the comment section whether you think Sancho, we should choose Sancho over Erik Ten Hag. Well, he has given a condition, at least according to ESPN, according to the head of the Writers Association. So this is he cannot be a story, he cannot write something without a source, yet he's the chairman of the Football Writers Association. So he's saying that Sancho has given that condition to Ineos. If you want me back, sack Erik Ten Hag. So if it's up to you, if you're Ineos, if you're Sir Jim Ratcliffe, do you say, Sancho, 350,000 quid a week. Erik Ten Hag, you've been all over the place this season. We cannot lose Sancho. You're sacked. Players can be full of themselves. Imagine, these are the players we are signing with this John Matters. Subscribe. I'll catch you later.